I didn't know if this was worth showing, but I thought I'd record it or get it on video anyway. I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want to put the battery. I got a battery box on order, so that way I can figure out where I'm going to run wiring to. Another thing I'm keeping in mind is uh, where the inner plastics interior pieces go, or how far they come down, but I am going to run a cover over all this, like the K Designs or something, if either that or make my own. But there was studs here for the seats before. If you notice, they're empty holes now. There was two there for the folding part of the seat, and then there was a bolt here and a bolt here, I think, to hold the bar down that went underneath the seat. But just took a big old 5-pound hammer to it or whatever it was and knocked them out. They're just studs that are, I'm guessing they're just pressed into place, and some plates that are underneath the car there and in the center, and just took 30 seconds and knocked those guys out. I figure I'm never going to have a back seat in this car again, so I'm probably not going to miss them. All right, a quick boring update. Working on getting all the wiring done. Then I know you need to have some length of pipe behind the headers. So it's got the ball flange type on the end of the BBKs. So I ordered just a short tube. I think that's a Cook's tube. But it came with these flanges on there to bolt up to the BBK flange. Now the BBK flange has these studs that screw into it, but they don't fit the slot. So I mounted them up there, and I just need to round that out or get a little more clearance there. Well, I thought I'd just take a drill to it, but then the drill just snags in there. So I don't feel like ripping my hand off of the end of my arm trying to drill that out. So I thought, well, I'll just take a file to it. Maybe I got something else where I can kind of hone that out, but just sitting there. This is the smallest file, or the biggest file I have that actually fits in the slot there. So just gonna file out 4 holes unless I can figure something else out here. All right, got a little smarter. Found a nice little air tool with a little grinder bit on it. I don't know what I was trying to grind before that's kind of plugged up some of that grinding stone, but I'm gonna try to get this in there a little bit and try to get that ground out. All right, I wanted to show you guys what I got in store for myself right now, or talk about future plans for this. So since you can't order what you want for quote off-road mid-pipe, X-pipe, H-pipe, whatever you want to call it, I took a chance with Amazon and just found this kit. Well, these were separate. I think these are actually Cook's adapters, I believe, is at least what the ad said. So those will bolt up to the BBK, the little ball socket on the end of the header collector. Then I got everything else was all part of this kit, including these U-shaped pieces. Then I got the little X-pipe there, so it came with 4 pipes with the 45-degree bend in it there. Then these 2 180s. Then I got these separate. So I'm gonna use this to piece together my own mid-pipe. And I think just from what I measured, the exhaust, the header collectors actually be about that far apart, 14 inches apart. I think that's like 18 center to center there. So I'll have to do some trimming there. And since I got the independent rear, I want to keep kind of these outlets close together. So I might actually end up like lopping these off like right about here, and maybe using some of these U-shaped pieces or something, but figure something else out here to keep the pipe kind of close together as it comes out and goes towards the rear end of the car. And of course got the shop supervisor being lazy over there, not helping one bit. Finally got a little smarter. Instead of just attacking these holes with a file so that this bolt fits through, or the stud, I ended up going to the local Napa and getting a carbide burr and an air tool. And I bet you I had all 4 holes hogged out good enough for these bolts in a matter of 5 minutes. So back under the car. All right, so I'm playing around with the battery cables some more. So I was looking, or just rolling around the car looking at it, thinking about things, and then I realized that you got the hole for the old cruise control right there. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just run both battery cables inside the car instead of trying to screw them to the bottom. So they all come in. Oh, my light's going dead there. So they come in by the firewall, of course, and then right down along the rocker panel, and then back and over to the battery there. So all the cables are run to the battery. I kind of taped them up here. I'll get that down, and just kind of got stuff kind of set in place where I think I want it to be when it's all said and done. So playing around with that. I really wish that I had the battery box, but I don't think I showed that. But I ordered a Moroso battery box off of Amazon, I think it was. Oh, then it showed up, and the box was all busted up, and the battery box was all busted up. So I sent that and returned it. And of course, it took about 5 days to get it, so it's probably going to be 7 to 10 days before I get the replacement for it, which kind of irks me since I order other stuff like sensors or transducers or elbow fittings like this guy. So whoever's doing a fuel pressure regulator, this event was leaking on the other one. So I reached out to LMR and they said, well, you're supposed to have this face vertical, not horizontal, because otherwise the fluid leaks out of the vent in the top. So LMR did really good for me and sent me a new one. When I followed up, well, you look on their website and look on the website for the fuel kit, the Coyote Swap fuel kit, and you watch the LMR video and they have the face fitting horizontally. So I did order another elbow just like what I did for the fuel pressure sensor there, and got the same thing there. And of course there's no great spot to do it, but I figure when the hood's up you'll be able to see it through there. Well, if I leave it in there, I'm thinking that once I do have the terminator all set up, the fuel pressure sensor is monitored through there. And probably once you have it set, it's set. So I'll probably end up pulling that off of there at some point and putting the plug back in it. Which reminds me, I gotta make sure I know where that is so I can do that. Anyway, that's where I'm at for now. I think I am gonna stick with running the battery cables through the inside of the chassis and out through that opening. I might have to figure out too what I might do. I'll wire tuck this stuff, but maybe I'll just leave it so that it comes through the firewall where it originally did, and then pop it through the inner fender down there. Then I just got to figure out how I'm going to run the positive cable, since the alternator will be sitting over on that side, starter's over there, and all that jazz. So I'll figure that out. All right, I'm back out in the garage. It's a shop supervisor. Hi, Barney. I think you're going to become famous, Barney. Yeah. Oh, he's up there now. How you doing, Bubby? All right. So, showing the car here again. I'm glad I kind of lay stuff out, take some time to think about it. Last thing I think I showed, there's actually a hole where the manual cruise control went through. Then I was debating whether I wanted to run like the positive side on this side too, and then I'd have to run it over to the alternator and then over to the starter on the pasture side. Then I got to thinking or looking, you actually have a little hole here in the cowl. You got the positive run across inside the cowl. Pops out on this side in the cowl, and then I can run it to the distribution block here. But don't fret, don't worry. I'll do something here. I know I got sharp edges and I don't want that wearing through any of these cables here. So I'll put something on there, some vacuum hose or whatever. Got this power cable run through here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna run wipers or not when the car is done. I haven't really thought about that. Maybe it's a good thing to keep them in there just in case. But I'll figure something out for securing this battery cable down inside here. Again, I'll get something on all the edges so it's not chewing through the insulation of the wire there. I feel pretty good about where things are kind of laid out in here. Once you have carpet in there, it should kind of be held down. And then I'm going to run like a K Designs or build my own cover that goes over and covers all the battery and everything here. So I think I pretty much got this battery cables laid out the way I want them. Then just to get this car fired up the first time, I'm just going to run a jumper from the positive side here over to that distribution block. So I got some wire set up for that. I know it's not ideal, but it should be enough just to see this engine fire up. So yeah, I'll get that run, get power run to the starter, and then also I'll have to, there's the solenoid on the starter, got a solenoid wire here, so I'll get that figured out too. May I'll run power to that first before I run power to the starter. So at least got a little bit of a game plan. Gonna get this all straightened out here